Welcome to Money Making Conversation. I am the host, Rashawn McDonald. Each Money Making Conversation talk show is about entrepreneurship and entertainment. I provide the consumer and business owner access to celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and industry decision makers. I recognize that we all have different definitions of success. That is so true. For some, it's a sizable paycheck. Mine is helping people wake up and inspiring them to accomplish their goals and living the life as best they can. Pursuing their passions, accepting their gifts. Stop allowing these small obstacles because you got way bigger opportunities in the future that we want to achieve. So keep moving forward. The Money Making Conversation interviews provide relatable information to the listener about career and financial planning, entrepreneurship, motivation, leadership, overcoming the odds, and how to live a balanced life. My next guest is on the phone. He is an Emmy Award-winning and NAACP Image Award-winning actor, award-winning stage and television director, producer, humanitarian, and cowboy and rodeo performer. That's the part I like the most. His prolific career spans over 50 years, beginning as a teenager acting in New York on Broadway, from Cooley High, A Different World, The Wire, loved him in The Wire, Fargo, to the Aretha Franklin projects. There's no stopping my man. He's active in the community, in the entertainment game, currently appearing in the Netflix film Justine, the Warner Brothers film The Way Back. He is on the show to talk about his awesome career, new projects, my favorite, Camp Giddy Up. Please welcome to Money Making Conversation, Glynn Turman.
Hey, how you doing, Rashawn?
Pretty good, my friend. I left that H off, didn't I?
You sure did.
There you go.
I love it. I was holding my breath.
Turman.
With that great introduction, don't put that H on there. That great introduction.
just kick that little math degree out the window there. Hey, Glyn,
right.
When you look at a guy like you that has done so many memorable characters. So I'm not going to say this, memorable, especially when you go back to Cooley High. That's like the classic black movie in the era when black exploitation was dominating the movie screens back then. Can you sum up your career before we really get into it? Because I really want people, we have to say you are a legend. You are a person that you're an inspiration. You're a guy who sat down and said, I can make a career out of this, and you have made a career out of it. Tell us about your take on your career, and we know it's not done. First of all, it's not an obituary. So, but it is an amazing journey. It is an amazing journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, first of all, thank you for all the kind words that you used to describe me. And the second thing is that all of listening to you point out those things made me say to myself, I never thought or tried to achieve any of those accolades that you just heaped upon me. I'm just a young kid from Harlem, New York, who had an opportunity to do something and be a part of something that was extraordinary. It's not that I went seeking it; it sort of found me, and I was blessed to have people around me who continued to nourish me once they saw that I had a talent. I kind of took things for granted, as most young people will. So mentors kept me on the path, and from people in high school, which is what I went to, the high school performing arts. Remember the movie Fame?
Absolutely.
Well, that was actually the year that they're talking about in that movie is the year that my graduating year, and so I knew a lot of the characters, and there was a wonderful teacher there by the name of Vanette Carroll, who kept me in school and focused and guided me and eventually brought me to California. Vanette Carroll did to perform in a play here, and here's where I stayed. But to your point, my career has been really kind of just a blessing, because so much has happened that I never would have thought would have happened. I just look at myself as a blue collar actor, Right. I just get my lunch bucket. I get I get a call to go to work. I go to work. I do my job. I come home.
Right.
that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But all of the accolades and other things that come with it were like, wow, this comes with doing what you love, you know. So, and I think that's probably the main ingredient, is that I love doing what I'm doing. I still do.
Well, that's the impression I've always gotten, you know, from every project I've seen. One of my favorites was, House of Lies. And you know, when you played the sexy grandfather, father role, and you know, with the young lady, you know, I'm telling you, Glyn, I was feeling you on that role of House of Lies with John Cheadle and Lorenz Tate.
Yes, indeed.
Lorenz Tate, his character, man, made me mad so many times.
Yes, indeed. Those were one of the fringe benefits of the business, you know, getting to work with opposite beautiful young ladies like that, and have a great time with friends, you know. Lorenz Tate, you know, he and I go way back to Inkwell together,
absolutely,
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, that was really interesting when I talk about these. You know, I always looked at it. I can't act. I did stand-up comedy. I'm an excellent writer, manage great talent.
You do it well.
Thank you.
You do it all well.
Thank you.
Trust me.
But when I look at a talent like you, let's talk about. You know, I was joking because I really did. Whenever I see you make me smile, Glyn. And that's something, you know, when I see you make me smile. You know, when I watch the movie Justine, which is running right now on Netflix, you make me smile with your character when you want to meet with the therapist, and then you close the door, and it was like, is he acting or he's just being normal? Because he's acting. This looks pretty normal to me what he's doing, and when you get that good, it seems like these motions are just everyday life motions that you're functioning in life. And so that's what happened when I loved you in The Wire, which was like, God.
Yeah, The Wire was great.
Such a fascinating cultural story. And you was right there playing a realistic character that I've had sympathy for, that I made me mad sometimes. But,
yes,
but isn't that the role of an actor to pull these emotions out of an audience?
Yes, it is. That's our job. You know, that's what we're supposed to be able to hold up a mirror so that you can see yourself as well as others that you know in the characters that we play. You know, and so that's what we get paid to do.
And that's a wonderful thing. And then, like I said, I wanted to go back to House of Lies because when you're around talented people, it kind of does it force you or cause you to step your game up? I'm not saying that you don't step up your game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not want to insult you. Don't want to insult you.
Oh no.
But you're around Don Cheadle, and I'm telling you something, man. It was some times, man. I'm telling you, that Lorenz Tate character, I was so mad, and when you take up for him. I go, is he serious? Lorenz is just sitting over there watching TV all day. Don Cheadle characters out there competing with these white people. Yes! Right. And then the dad coming out, sauceing up with the young filly in the bedroom. You know, come on now. Your brother trying. He trying. I'm trying to figure out, what did he try? What did he try?
Right. What did he try? But ain't that the way it is in the family? But no, for sure, ain't that the way it is in your family?
Absolutely.
And your siblings and everything?
Absolutely. I can't tell you, man.
Away with stuff.
My mama, baby, you got a couple of cars. Why don't you give one of the cars to your sister? Huh?
Yeah. See?
Okay, just because I got a couple of, they all used now. They used cars. Now, your boy wasn't balling at the time, all right? But they were my cars. My mama come over to me. Well, you got 2 cars. Why don't you give one to your sister? Okay.
Yeah, she need a car.
She need a car.
She need a car.
She need a car. So I can find that moment relatable because it didn't make any sense to me. And guess what she did, Glyn? She wrecked it. She wrecked it.
I knew you was gonna say that.
She wrecked it. It was a 1972 green Gremlin with no radio.
It still hurt, but It still hurts, don't it?
It still hurts. Because I can tell you it's green, I can tell you it's no radio, and I can tell you it was 1972. I paid $900 for that car, cash.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
My sister went out there, wrecked it. I come home, she on the sofa, she in the sofa next to my mama. Baby, your mama going to the same routine. Baby, I got something I want to tell you.
I'll tell you, right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when I was going through whenever I saw you interact between them two, I just thought back to my mom. I said, boy.
You had flashback. Did you have a flashback?
If I didn't heard this character in real life before, making a story work for somebody who's trifling.
Right. But see, that's the pleasure of working with people who are good at their job. We had great writers on that show, on House of Lies, And, you had to step your game up. You're working with Don Cheadle. You got to step your game up. You got to bring your A game every day because Don is a beast.
Oh, he's a beast, especially with this new show, Black Monday. He's a beast.
He's a beast, as well as Lorenz Tate, know. But the thing that's wonderful that I love that I've been able to work with wonderful, wonderful people. I started working in the business, working with the top of the line with Sidney Poitier and Ruby Dee, Lou Gossett Jr., in the original production of A Raisin in the Sun on Broadway. So that's where I started. So, I'm always looking to work with the best that I can work with, because they bring the best out of you, The cast of The Wire was fantastic, was amazing. Everybody in that cast was just was dynamite.
It's always amazing that, we all know that, if you don't know this, Idris Elba, he came from The Wire. He made a drug dealer likable. He made a drug dealer popular. He made a drug dealer who, when he died, we was mad.
Yeah.
They killed him. Yeah. Come on, get up! Get up!
Man, my wife screamed so loud, I don't know. Damn.
I'll tell you something, Glyn. I love talking to you, man. It's like talking to my uncle. I'm just because we just laughing and talking and just sharing stories. Because Glyn, here's the deal because he got shot on in that high rise, right? That was under construction, and so when he got shot, I'm talking about Idris' character. When he got shot. Stringer Bell. I still remember the name. Stringer Bell was his character's name. Stringer Bell. That's right. I kept saying, he got to get up. He can't be just...
You wasn't ready for him to be dead.
Nobody was ready. America was not ready for him to be dead.
Nobody. That's the truth.
Because in the way the character was built, okay, he was a drug dealer, but he wanted to be more. He educated himself. And that's when you talk about not only him, there's just a lot of fantastic people who are busily working today off of that series, The Wire.
Off of that show. That's right.
That's the amazing thing about that series. But I wanted to step back a little bit here, Glyn, and get into you. Yeah. Where were you born, Glyn?
Born and raised in Manhattan.
In Manhattan, okay.
Born in Harlem. I'm from Harlem, New York.
Okay, so I'm trying to get you this rodeo cowboy thing because Jay told me about that. Jay said, he has a rodeo.
Yeah, I'm with the Bill Pickett Rodeo. Lou Fassant, who was the founder of the Bill Pickett Rodeo, asked me to be a part of it that many years ago, and I found a home there, and that's a family, and been there ever since. Okay, good.
See, now, let's stop here. See, I love when people like you start talking because you miss all them steps, Harlem boy. Now he's in Los Angeles. He a rodeo king. Okay, how do we get to the horses, though? See, what you ain't going to do to me, subways, buses, cabs, go move to Hollywood, mansions and limos and cars, you on a horse. Please fill it up in this next break because we got a lot to talk about in the next break. But please help me out with this break.
Okay.
Hi, this is Rashawn McDonald. You're listening to Money Making Conversation. I'm having fun with Glynn Turman. So I got to slow it down, make sure he don't do me. You already question my education, because a lot of people put that H in there, but we all good. Cooley High, The Wire, House of Lies. I'm going to stop because I'm insulting you because your body of work It's been over 50 years. Now, before we left, I was riding you about this whole horse thing, this old cowboy thing. And then you're going to throw out, you threw out the Bill Pickett, 36 years. 36 years. Because see, they'll never ask me to be the Grand Marshal, the ambassador, any rodeo. So that means that you have to have had a skill set, or showcased a moment on a horse, a rope, or something. So tell us, how did you develop that skill, and how did you get into horses? And then we're going to get on to the Camp Giddy Up.
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, the true answer is it's in my blood.
That's the true answer.
Yeah, the true answer is it's in my blood. But like it's in so many of us, of people of color's blood. Mm-hmm. We don't associate ourselves with that kind of lifestyle. Right. Mm-hmm. But we came over from Africa.
Yes, sir.
Where there were great horsemen there, and here my grandfather, whom I didn't even know on my father's side. I never met him. He was dead before I was born. He was a farmer and had horses and mules and all that. So my daddy grew up raised around that kind of life. Mm-hmm. And my daddy moved from Georgia to Chicago and New York to get away from that lifestyle.
Right.
Now, like so many of us, especially back in the day, I wasn't raised as a young man with my father around, Mm-hmm. So I went in this direction on my own of buying horses or riding horses and getting into land and buying land. And once I got to California, coming from a small 3-bedroom, a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City to a 20-acre ranch in Los Angeles, California. Thank God for the blessing. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know where that love of the land and the earth came from. Mm-hmm. But I was drawn to it. I was always drawn to it. Even when I was living in New York, I spent a lot of time in Central Park. I'd go to Central Park and clean the stalls at the horse stable in Central Park in order to ride the horse for free. If you let me, mister, if you let me clean that stall, I'll clean that stall if you let me ride your horse. And I'd shovel horse. And he'd say, okay, go ahead, son. Do that. That's how badly I wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. And once I got to California and started, in the business, and the business was kind to me enough to put some ducats in my pocket that I could do something with in terms of fulfilling some dreams, that became a part of one of the dreams I wanted to fulfill, And so then little did I know that desire was in my DNA. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's the true answer. Right. That's the real answer.
Well, that's the real answer. That's the honest answer. That's the gift. That's the passion. That I always tell people who come on the show or people who are listening to the show is that we deny ourselves a lot of dreams and a lot of great moments because we go, that ain't me, or what would people think about if I started doing that? And and that's why I joke and I laugh about the whole rodeo thing, but man, I'm in awe that that you're doing that in a world where it can be so superficial. And then not only that, but you tell us about your Camp Giddy Up, because I'm sure it's tied to the horse environment, the rodeo lifestyle, the outdoor lifestyle. The young people need to be familiar with, because my daughter, she's 22. She's not going to go anywhere without her phone, and she watches YouTube. I got an 85-inch screen on the wall. She's looking at her phone, so that doesn't mean anything. So tell us about that experience, and what is the purpose of Camp Giddy Up?
Well, it's one of the things growing up in New York and being from Harlem, and there's a lot of distractions back in the city, and I was no different than any other young teenager ready to get into some of that mess that was going on, Mm-hmm. And my mother, in an attempt to steer me away from the wrong elements, sent my butt to camp one summer. Sent me kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go because I knew that summer I had big plans to get my first they used to call it. You used to get 3 JD cards, juvenile delinquent cards, back in the day.
Yes.
If you got your third juvenile delinquent card, then they were going to send you to the reformatory.
Absolutely.
And so I was working on getting my first one. That summer, I knew I was going to get that first job.
I love it. You're a storyteller too. You need to be doing a podcast, Stories by Glyn.
And I knew I was going to get that card. All of us, me and my boys, we was working on that card. A couple of them already had the 2 or 3 cards. But I knew I was going to get mine, and my mother must have knew it too, and she sent me to this daggone camp. And I got to camp, got in the wild outdoors and all that, and the campfires and all the fun that we was having, and the lake and the canoeing and all that stuff, and I loved it. I said, "Doggone, this is great." I told my mom, "Boy, I want to go back next year." She said, "Well, you keep your in school, stop playing hooky, get your grades up, and yada, 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 and then I'll send you back next year." So the doggone it, she found a hook for me, you know?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's beautiful.
I said, "Oh, shoot," you know? So I found a reason to say no to the rest of the stuff that, you know, the guys was getting ready to get into. Was saying, "Come on, man, let's go do this." You know how it goes. And I said, "No, man, I can't mess this up. I got plans I want to do." Well, beautiful. I said to myself later, I said, "Well, if that worked for me, that might work for some of these little knuckleheads out here, you know, in the street." And I've been blessed. To you know, make some of my dreams come true. My wife and I have got, who was a camper also by, she grew up going to camps out here in California. So she understood the value of the camps and the outdoors. And so when I got my piece of land there, I said, you know, one of the things we can do with this place is provide a space for kids to see something different. The stars, you know, ride horses, you know, swim in a pond, you know, take hikes and so on and so forth, and do all the stuff that you do at camp. Just get away for a breather and get away from the city. And I promised, what happened was I promised Coretta Scott King that that's what I was going to do with was start a camp, because this was in '92 and we had just had the Rodney King's civil unrest, and Coretta Scott King had called a lot of the community leaders into a conference in Atlanta and asked us what did we think we could do to help heal the city and some of the unrest. And that was my contribution, my wife and I's contribution. I came up with it on the spot. And my wife said, "How are we going to do this?" You know, and I said, "I don't know." But I was doing A Different World at the time, the TV series, A Different World. And so I went and I asked Sinbad and I asked Dawn Lewis and Jasmine and Kadeem. I said, "Hey, y'all, chip in some bucks. I'm going to try and do something up at the ranch." And they did. And we were able to start a camp, and that was 27 years ago.
Congratulations. You know, that's a difference maker of what you do. And then people, when you called on your friends and that's a hot show, A Different World. And, you know, that story has never been told on my show, and it needs to be told. And stories like that need to be told, because all, you know, celebrities or sports figures, all you hear about is the next movie, all you hear about is the next score, the next touchdown, the next championship. But it's what you do in the community, the paying it forward makes such a big difference. And that's why I wanted to make sure people understood, you know, what you're doing with Camp Giddy Up.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know, first of all, you know, we've been having a great time, and we're always gonna have a great time, because guess what? I'm an admirer of your talents. I'm an admirer of your gifts. I'm a person that's been seeing you afar. I've met you several times. I'm not insulted that you don't remember me. That doesn't bother me. I'm just letting you know. I have met you, brother. I can point out your house. I can drive to your house right now. I can drive. That's about as much information I'm gonna give, Glyn. I ain't gonna give no more. But that's about as much information I'm gonna give, because that was like a little.
Everybody know I've been. You know, I'm still here with my people. You know.
I digress. Let's go back to why you really called me over here, just having this little fun conversation. Justine, I saw the movie on Netflix. Your executive producers from you know, that factory called Ava DuVernay.
Yes. Ain't she bad?
She bad, man.
Shut your mouth.
She bad, but I just saw that Cherish Your Life, boy. Woo! Cherish Your Day.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't talk about that. Let's talk about Justine. Let's talk about a moving piece, because one of the stars of the series was physically disabled. And did you physically? This is why I like this was my take on him. You had the lead characters were disabled in different ways. One was emotionally disabled, and then one was physically disabled. And then they were put together in this series to see how they would interact and deal with their personal crisis, their growth.
Wow.
And then you had you in the middle. Those two child actors. Fantastic.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
Sweet.
Those two child actors, that little boy. Let me tell you something. You know, when I be watching, because I've been fortunate to cast kids.
Let your audience know you're talking about the two kids who play my grandkids in it.
Yes.
Yeah, they're wonderful, as well as the girl who played the disabled girl.
Absolutely.
They're all terrific.
All of them are fantastic. But when I watch scripts, I've done enough scripts, I've written scripts, and when I see extra that's being added in a natural state, I go, and I saw these little kids who played your grandkids. I went, wow, they get it. They understand. They are fearless and they're natural at it. And so that's their gift. You know, they might go get a college degree, but boy, right there, I saw their gifts. They might become teenagers and say, I don't want to act anymore. And that's their right. But boy, what I saw in this movie, and you executive produced it, were you part of the casting process too, Glyn?
No, I must say that I was not. That was all Stephanie Turner. This piece is Justine was written, directed, produced, and stars Stephanie Turner, who is the daughter of is the football coach for the Redskins.
Norv Turner, Norv Turner, Dallas Cowboys, officers and coordinator, genius.
Yes. And she, as an actress, was tired of not getting the roles that she wanted. Right. And finding that women were not given the opportunities they had to play the characters and the depth that she thought should be put on the screen. And so she took it upon herself to put this piece together and saw me on, as I was doing a spin on How to Get Away with Murder. Right.
Yes.
TV series. And she called my agents asking if I would be interested in being a part of this script. So it was a small independent movie, low budget, and she was hoping that I would be able, to see something in it enough to want me to be a part of it. And I did as soon as I read it. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. Like you say, the handicapped characters are in their conditions in so many different ways. Yes. And that was really astute of you to put it like that. I had no one had put it like that before. And
it was beautiful. I was embraced by the movie premise. I understood her loss because the fact that you couldn't understand it, which is great for the character because frustration is led by tell me what's wrong. Sometimes you can't tell people what's wrong.
What's wrong, right?
And like the therapist told you, look, leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Yeah, right.
Okay? You trying to make something happen, but let it happen in its natural course. And everybody tries to, and sometimes people, in general, people do that. That's what leads to frustration. Sometimes I ask my daughter to come quick. She might not come as quick as I want. Then I get frustrated.
Right,
What's the problem here?
Right, sure.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. This movie is about challenging the process, challenging racism, challenging living or working in an environment that you really don't want to be in, but you deal with it and you're frustrated. And then when somebody asks to hear the truth, guess what? It can come out like a hot ball of water. And that's what it did. Right. And but I just like to say, my main thing in bringing you on the show, Glyn, first of all, was just to introduce myself to you, tell you I'm a fan. Secondly, to let you know that the impact that you have and will have in this industry is a blessing. This movie, Justine, as soon as they told me you was booked for the show, I immediately watched it, enjoyed it. And I got my wife to watch it. She enjoyed it. And so,
did she like it?
Absolutely.
Good.
You know,
well, that's wonderful. Yeah.
You know, because it's your body of work. But like I said, my favorite scene in that movie was when you was with the therapist and you closed that door. That to me, I'm like, this guy, I don't know if is he acting now or he just being himself. And that's the beauty of your skill, Glyn. And don't change.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let me ask you one question.
Well, hey, man, don't forget to this situation here. It shut us down like it did all of Hollywood.
You're talking about the Ben Affleck movie?
No, I'm talking about Fargo, actually. I'm talking
absolutely.
about Fargo
Absolutely.
with Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris Rock and I are doing a stint on Fargo. I'm great. Wait till you guys see Chris in this serious role. It's really, really something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the upcoming project, the fourth season of Fargo. Yes, you played Dr. Senator.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes, right. That's right.
You got
Correct.
Denzel Washington-produced adaptation of August Wilson Award-winning Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. You know, you got Toledo. Mm-hmm. Man, look at you busy. You busy. Yeah, I don't know when you have time to ride a horse, but boy, you make the time to do everything else. Again, well, do me a favor, Glyn. Tell your people to send me the posters and send me trailers so I can promote your brand. I got almost 1 million followers, 200,000 fan club members, and I'm on podcasts. I'm syndicated in 30 markets. I'm here to promote your brand. I'm here to say thank you for being you and don't change.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. This was a fun interview. This is one of the most fun interviews I've had. So I want to just
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm laughing. I'm gonna tell you something, man. See right there, your laugh making me smile because, man, you know they should have had you on like 5,000 toothpaste commercial because your smile, brother, your smile, your laugh, and your smile, on fire, man, on fire, dude. It's fire. Keep winning, brother. I appreciate you. Bye bye.
Okay, baby. Same to you. Bye bye.
That's right, my man. This is Rushion McDonald. If you want to hear any more episodes of Money Making Conversations, just go to moneymakingconversation.com. I'm Rushion McDonald.